Hi, everybody. It's Elizabeth from Elpis Astrology at elpisastrology.com. Thanks for joining me today. So this is going to be my take on the astrology and then the horoscopes for the individual signs and ascendants for March 2024. So we have eclipse season starting. So we'll have our first eclipse towards the end of March, and I'll discuss that in a few minutes, in Libra. And then, of course, in April, we will have a new moon total eclipse in Aries. So I would say the significant thing that's going on this month is that Mars is in Aquarius for most of this month. And what is that? Mars in Aquarius says to me unique, unusual ideas, maybe even scientific breakthroughs of some sort coming through from a collective level. Great energy put into humanitarian causes, great energy put into rebellion. That type of thing could be going on all of March as well. And especially with the eclipse at the end being a full moon, there may be some culmination of some sort with regards to these types of things, right? All right. So right on the 1st of March, we have the sun is going to be conjuncting Mars, 10 degrees of Pisces. And so this says to me that some kind of rule or rules and regulations may come into place here. And I'm thinking in particular in Pisces, we're always looking at compassionate things, immigrants, that type of thing, where there may be some real interesting stuff goes on there with regards to rules and regulations being put down that may have not been there before. We look at the 3rd of March, we're then looking at Venus squaring Uranus. And so we're starting off the month here with sort of a lot of energy that's moving around, some sort of challenges, I would say, as well. Now, when we look at Venus, we're talking about love on an individual level, and more of on a collective level, we're looking at our money systems. And so right at the 3rd of March, we may have some kind of challenge with regards to the money systems. And I mentioned this last month as well, but this could bring something up pretty significant because this is an eclipse month as well, right? So when we look at our first lunation, it is a new moon in Pisces at 20 degrees of Pisces, 17 minutes at 1 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Now we look at the rulers of the moon, and the modern ruler, of course, is Neptune, and Neptune is in Pisces at this time. It's not conjunct the moon and the sun, but it is hovering kind of close by with regards to it being in the same sign. And we also look at the more ancient ruler, and that, of course, is Jupiter. And we know that Jupiter is in Taurus right now. So with the Neptune being so close by to this moon and sun, there's sort of this element of literally water. So there may be some significant things that happen with regards to our water. This could go different ways. Maybe we're going to discover ways to clean up our water in a more efficient way that can be adapted by many people. But this also can bring in that whole immigrants and migrants type thing as well. Just straight off, it can bring in compassion. And, when we look at, so I have my charts with me as well. And, when I looked at this new moon, there's so much going on in Pisces. So we've got the Saturn, we've got the moon, the sun, Neptune. But then we have Mercury, even though Mercury is conjunct with Neptune at 0 degrees of Aries, it's out of that sign. And so I really got this impression that there may be some kind of ending with regards to maybe a world leader of some sort, just with the whole lineup of Saturn, the moon, the sun, Neptune, all in Pisces, followed by that Mercury at 0 degrees of Aries. And of course, that sextiles Pluto over at 1 degree of Aquarius. And so this really brought in, a transformational aspect as well. This could also lend itself to some literal big changes with regards to some world leaders of some sort as well, where there's some announcements that come out regarding that. And I think also whatever comes up around this time whatever announcements come out, especially with that Mercury at 0 degrees, right? That's a critical degree, sextiling that Pluto. Pay attention to what comes out at this time, because Pluto will be staying around that 0 to 2 degree mark, accenting that whole sextile that's formed with Mercury at this new moon in Pisces, right? All right, so we have Jupiter that is sextile Saturn, which is positive. That's bringing in some creative energy and expansion with regards to structures around us. This could also be, foreign, some kind of foreign element here, given opportunities to lay down the law, to put down the law, to make laws, that type of thing as well. And actually, Jupiter and Saturn together also can be the courts. And so there may be some significant things that come up here with regards to some kind of ongoing court or legal matter, where it's like, I get this vision of the judges, the courts taking control of that and laying down the law. Mm-hmm. We have Mars, as I said, that's in Aquarius most of the month, will be squaring Uranus. And so this is just upsets. It's upsets. It's also frustration. And as I mentioned last month as well, these types of aspects are around the 10th of March. So you can take days on either side of it. If you're frustrated, that's okay. But do know that this will pass. It also says to me delays, unexpected delays. So if you're listening to this in early February when I'm making this, maybe don't plan some big, launch or something like that around, even though it's a new moon, because that's a pretty significant transit there when we've got Mars squaring Uranus. So upsets, and of course, on a sort of mundane level, this could also be things literally coming out of the earth as well. Again, earthquakes, volcanoes, that type of thing. All right, when we look at, after this moon, we've got the 18th of March, and we have the Sun conjunct Neptune. And I think this is beautiful. Sun conjunct Neptune really brings out our compassionate sides of ourselves. It can also bring out things like inspiration with regards to Neptunian things. So inspiration for dance, inspiration for especially music, as well as sculpture of any sort of more leaning on the artistic side, right? It's like dreaming the dream, but putting it into these Pisces types things, which I think is some significant music could be made around this time, around that 18th of March. I like that a lot. The 19th of March, now we're going to have Mercury in Aries start its shadow period at 16 degrees of Aries. And in my individual signs that I'm going to do towards the end of this video, I am actually going to cover the Mercury retrograde as well, because it's a pretty significant one. In April, the actual retrograde starts early April, though, the first couple days of April. So that's why I'm going to cover it in this video as well. So pay attention to what happens around that 19th of March with regards to what? Well, it's new initiatives because it's in Aries. It's you wanting to express something individual. You want to move forward with something. And of course, Mercury itself refers to communications, any aspect of communications. It also refers to thoughts as well, writing, text, emails, phone calls. Pay attention to what comes up around that time period, because you will need to be addressing it again or going back over it again in April. When we look at the 24th of March, just before that full moon eclipse, we have Venus in Pisces sextiling Uranus. Okay, well, this is brilliant too. This is this nice opportunity to perhaps do something unusual with regards to anything Venus. So this could be an opportunity to increase our value of some sort. It's also love and money. So this could be opportunities to make some money unexpectedly. Opportunities to potentially fall in love. But there's this unexpected element when we're talking about Uranus's involvement here. If we go back a few days, we actually have the spring equinox that's going to be coming up. And the spring equinox I've got here in my chart on the Pacific coast is going to be March 19th at 8:07 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. The sun will go in at 0 degrees and 0 minutes of Aries. And of course, this also represents the astrological new year as well. So this is a significant time. And I've put the chart up here for you to take a look at because there's a few things that stood out for me. Notably, we've got the moon at this equinox at 3 degrees of Leo. And then opposite to that, we have Pluto at 1 degree and 39 minutes of Aquarius. So this is an opposition that's happening here. And to me, this is igniting all things Leo. That's what I got from this equinox. So all things Leo, what does that mean? Well, it certainly rules things like royalty. It rules things like being our authentic selves. So there's going to be an accent on that in terms of an energy. And it also rules things like expressing your autistic side. So this also could be a 3-month time period, right? Starting at the 19th of March with regards to being authentic when you express your authentic self and artistic self. So this could be maybe some significant works of art are going to be coming through here. Or just something that is artistic, maybe not necessarily painting a painting, but that could be here too. There may be some people that take that up around this time and over the 3 months produce something of real value and significance. It also rules children, Leo. And so something could come up with regards to children too. And I'm thinking, kind of generalizing that with regards to children and in school, there may be some things that come up with regards to that as well, right? It's also games of chance. But the big thing too, besides being authentic with Leo, is having fun. So take advantage of any of those types of energies coming up around that 19th of March, 2024, and maybe have some fun. There is a yod that's formed at this equinox, and the yod involves anchoring it is going to be Venus as well as Saturn at 10, 12 degrees of Pisces, and then Jupiter at 14 of Taurus. And they're going to be pointing to that south node that is at 15 degrees of Libra. So what does that all mean? Well, to me, it's bringing in a lot of factors to do with justice. In fact, that's what I came up with when I looked at this a few times. Lady Justice comes in, literally maybe riding her horse with the scales of justice. That's what I got at this. So this, again, I think is going to mark something like that with regards to something happening in the collective, right? But it's also about balance. That's the other thing I got too, that we need to seek balance. And that may also be brought up around this equinox. Start to see balance in your life. Seek harmony in your life as well, especially as it is with regards to other people, in particular relationships, right? When we look at that whole Libra influence as well. But Libra does represent any other, right? Okay. Let's move on now to that final lunation of the month. And of course, that is that full moon eclipse at 25th of March. And it is at 5 degrees of Libra, 7 minutes. So what's the ruler? The ruler of that, of course, is Venus. And that Venus is in compassionate, intuitive, psychic, very, very feeling Pisces. This is going to happen at 12 noon Pacific Daylight Time. And I looked up what the Sabian symbol, I don't always cover the Sabian symbols, but I did for this one. I like to do it for eclipses for sure. And so we always round up in terms of degrees. So we look at 6 degrees of Libra. And for that degree point, this is what it says. A man watches his ideals taking a concrete form before his inner vision. So this is projecting what you see inside your head. So these are what? These are our dreams, our hopes, our wishes, right? It's also our intuition that's coming into play here as well. But it's asking, are your dreams, are what you are intuiting, are all these things well conceived, well thought through? And it's a question, right? But it's a wrap up here of some sort. And, going out again to the collective, because this is in Libra, we could say that it could be anything to do with legal matters in the collective, diplomatic type things. On a personal level, it could involve that too, but it may also involve some endings of relationships, or at least some endings from the standpoint of how you're handling that relationship, right? Now, don't forget, you're going to have another eclipse happening in Libra this year on the 2nd of October. That's going to be at 10 degrees of Libra. And as I said, that's a new moon. So whatever ends here, there will be something new that's going to be starting at the beginning of October in this same area. Now, at this eclipse, we have a wide conjunction between the North Node and Mercury, around 15 degrees of Aries. And of course, if we think about it and we go back up and we say, where did that shadow period start for that Mercury retrograde on the 19th of March? It's at 15, 16 degrees of Aries. So there's some connection here with this eclipse with regards to communications, with regards to our thoughts, with our desire to move forward with something with regards to our destiny, right? So there's a tie-in here with that North Node conjuncting Mercury at that conjunction of the 15 degrees of Aries and the Mercury retrograde that officially starts next month in April. We have nicely Venus sextiling Jupiter. We have a wide sextile between Saturn and Jupiter. And so these are just positive energies with regards to expanding what we want to do, expanding what is important to us, expanding our structures in our life. It even could do with, travel of some sort becomes something that's pleasurable as opposed to travel not being so pleasurable. And so it kind of lends itself to that from a collective level. We do, though, have Venus doing a wide conjunction with Saturn. And for me, I would say that this also says, there could be some delay. There could be some delay with regards to money coming in for you if you have something around this degree point. It can also say it's not quite time yet. And so if I go back to the fact that this is a full moon eclipse, there's also this stop sign as well that's coming up with this Venus and Saturn that says not quite yet. So going back to that whole Sabian symbol, it's just saying, just review those things that you really think you want to do here. Review your visions, review your dreams, your hopes, what you want to move forward with. Just do a double check on it. Okay. We also have here, with the sun that's going to be in Aries, we have both the North Node on one side of the sun and we have Neptune on the other side. And I just got this impression when I looked at this that there may be some kind of destiny with regards to things that we want to manifest for ourselves. This also could be a time period where, something comes to light with somebody in a position of power where it's almost like they could grab some destiny of some sort here. But they may do it through, I think with this Neptune very close by to the sun here at 5 degrees of Aries at this full moon eclipse. I just got this grab of some sort. But doing it through fogginess through means that maybe are not so on the up and up, right? And we still have at this time too, we've got Mars now has gone into the first degree of Pisces, but we have Mars, we've got Saturn, we've got Venus, and we still have Neptune. They're all in Pisces. And so we're wrapping up the month here, the 25th. And so again, I feel it's a time of endings. And it's not necessarily a time of endings of, this feeling of loss necessarily, but it's like this wrap up. Let's just let this stuff go. Let's start something new here. So it's that sort of feeling that I still get, even though this is a completely different moon in Libra. But both these, the new moon in Pisces and then this full moon eclipse in Libra, I just get this feeling of letting go of some loss, but that it's important to do that if we're going to go on this new destiny path. And we may have somebody step forward to try to lead us in that way. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that. On the 28th of March, we have Venus sextiling Uranus. So towards the end of the month, we've got this lovely Venus sextile Uranus. So this is opportunities for us to what? To potentially connect with someone in a love connection, an opportunity maybe to raise the value of ourselves, the opportunity to potentially make some money. But this, in from a collective level, can also be a time period where we have the opportunities to make changes with regards to our global currencies. I just wanted to mention, I talked about immigrants and that throughout this whole March 2024, and I think this is going to be important for sure. But I wanted to mention a client of mine, Patricia Pepper, has published this fabulous book called Passport, Please. I read it and I really enjoyed it. She gives a really compassionate but sort of true view of what happens being part of an immigration system, and this one is in the UK. I'm going to put the link below to her book, but it is a really good read, and it combines a lot of things, but there's real compassion in this book and real understanding and feelings for the people who she has to make decisions about with regards to an immigration standpoint. I can't wait to see the movie when it comes out. All right, link below. So I'm going to move on next to your sun signs or ascendants you choose. I like the ascendants to start off with because it really indicates the area of your life, but the sun is also important in your chart. And of course, that gives you just a little bit more information how personally you might be affected as well. Before I do that, let's just do the April peak right now, okay? So April's going to just be hands down a big month. And Aries, you are featured 100%. What do we have in Aries? We've got our eclipse on the 8th of April. We have a Mercury retrograde happening in Aries. We've got Venus that's in Aries. And all these are going to be operating in Aries almost the whole month of April. And we also have, of course, that big conjunction of Jupiter conjunct Uranus at 21, 22 degrees of Taurus. So April is going to be a big month. I will cover that in detail. I did a video already, actually, for Jupiter conjunct Uranus through the ascendants and signs. I'll put that link below too, should you like to look at it. All right, let's move on to the sun signs and or ascendants next. All right, Virgo, that new moon in Pisces is opposite your sign. So Virgo, this just emphasizes your partner is more likely to have some kind of new start here. That's the basic idea here, is that it could also, though, affect clients. If you've got clients or business partnerships, there's some new start here for you, some new initiative that's going to happen. But it's going to involve other people helping you make that new start. So there's going to be some Virgos that decide to start a new business partnership. And or maybe you're going to add something in here to an existing partnership. Now, when we look at Pisces, we talk about things like compassion, service, which is also, the domain of you, Virgo, as well. So there may be some Virgos that get involved in some kind of service-oriented, compassion-type business partnership of some sort. And this may equate to something to do with health, right? Like hospitals type thing as well. It certainly would be an ideal time to do that. You're going to have supportive energies of Neptune there too, as well as Saturn. And of course, that's then going to set in some permanence and durability, the Saturn part of it too, right? But just as likely too, your partner could get involved in something spiritual that has an enduring value of some sort that positively affects you, right? Now, when we look at that Mercury in shadow period in March going retrograde at the beginning of April, it is in your 8th house. And hey, the best way to use that would be in March, start identifying things like do your taxes, identify any holes that are there, any extra stuff you've got to do. Any of your investments, take a look at them carefully, right, before the Mercury goes retrograde. Consult with financial advisors if you think you need to do that. Potentially decide to go into therapy of some sort because the 8th house represents that too. Yeah, you could have, I'm thinking for some Virgos, just take care with your taxes now we're talking about the USA here. Because in April, you may have something kicked back with regards to your taxes where you've missed something or you have to recalculate something. That could also be something. But there could also be something revealed to you. Pay attention to what comes up with regards to anything to do with money, especially other people maybe that you are involved with regarding your money. Because there's going to be some kind of thing that you have to go back on in April to re-look at things and maybe redo some things as well. Okay, that full moon in Libra falls in your 2nd house, Virgo. So this could have, because it's an eclipse, and typically I know full moons are endings, and so we tend to lean towards that it's endings, but it can also be a new beginning. It could mean you end a job and you start one the same day. That type of thing could happen at this eclipse, where you just decide, I don't want to do this job anymore. And an opportunity comes in for you to do a new job, to bring in new income. But it literally could be ending one source of income and another one coming in for you. It can also indicate you decided you want to get rid of some of your possessions that you have, that, you just don't value them anymore and you want to let them go. It can also have something to do with legal matters as well. Maybe there's going to be some legal matter or legal type things. Not that you're going to go into some kind of big legal case of some sort, but there's a legal attachment to the income that you earn. And maybe this involves you negotiating more money because you feel you're not being valued enough. And of course, that's the other thing that whole 2nd house really speaks to, is not only your own values that you have, but also the value of yourself. And maybe for some Virgos, you're going to say to yourself, I'm not being valued enough here. And you decide that you want to start looking for another job at this time. Yeah, I mean, just like Pisces, you're going to be affected by the transiting nodes that go into, the north nodes go into Pisces and the south nodes go into your sign, Virgo, starting in January 2025. And of course, it brings up the fact that you're going to have eclipses in your sign, Virgo. As your first one, Virgo, is going to be in March 2025. But hey, there's an eclipse on the 17th of September in Pisces at 25 degrees opposite your sign. And so there's going to be some initiation here with regards to this as well, right? That whole 7th house could be featured for you, as well as your 1st house. Certainly starting in January 2025, but there's going to be some indication in September Either way. All right, Virgo, take care of yourself. Okay, everybody. As always, I am sending everyone a lot of positive energy for March. Positive energy at that eclipse at the end of March. And, if anything negative does happen in March, try to see it, try to put a positive spin on it. Spend time thinking, okay, what are the positive aspects of this ending? Because there will be some endings in people's lives at this time. And hey, look forward to April when, oh my goodness, there's so much happening in April. And I will put that all together for you. As I said, I've got some of the April goings on, especially the Jupiter conjunct Uranus. I've also got a video, as I mentioned, so I'll put that link in here. And you can certainly, listen to that. I've got the ascendants and sun signs in there too. All right, sending you lots of love, everybody. Leave comments. I love doing charts. I love doing any astrology or tarot. Get in contact with me if you want me to do a reading for you. I love doing that. Lots of love to everybody. Please take care, and bye for now. Hi, everyone. It's Elizabeth here from Alpus Astrology. I'd like just to give you a little more detail about what I do with regards to the services I can offer you. Certainly, I suggest that if you've not had your chart ever done, this would be a good time to do it. Contact me. All my contact details are below, and we can talk to each other back and forth and arrange something for you. So I offer different services. I offer a full astrology report for two of my services. One is where I look at both your natal chart and your progress chart in detail. I accompany that with a physical chart, as well as your charts that I'm looking at for that year. I do what's called a transit chart, which really involves your progressed chart for that year in combination with your natal chart. I give you a report for that as well. Typically, I'd be updating an existing report for you. I have a lot of clients that come back to me yearly. And then the other service that I offer is a combination of taking a quick look at the astrology. Typically, it would be a year or 2 year, what stands out for me, looking at that, and then adding in at the end a tarot card reading to accompany it. I record that and send that to you pre-recorded. So that's not a live session. The other two that I do are live session. And then I offer, obviously, custom. I do a lot of picking marriage dates, compatibility. I typically use what are called Davison charts or synastry as well, where I can combine two charts to see how do these two charts of these people work together. More often, it's going to be sort of romantic relationships, but it can also be business relationships too. How well do we work together type thing by producing one chart. So I do all that. As I said, I would love to do your chart. Contact me below, and we can work together to make that happen for you.